The following was recorded during the COVID-19 pandemic through Zoom meetings in accordance with local health guidelines. Hi, I'm Mike Maloney, and welcome to another CSRM podcast. Today's episode is hosted by Dr. Greg Linville.
Hi, welcome back. We are joined again in this series with our Missional Link Wales folks, Rob Burns and Jamie Dallimore. And welcome, men.
Thank you.
We are recording again during COVID, so you might notice we're not in our studio. And Rob, to that end, I think you might see right here that I've got two grandsons. And I think you might be able to see they are football players.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Soccer players.
Clever guys.
And they just started that last week. It's their second year, so make you happy that the next generation. And with their athletic ability, they've taken off after their mother's side of the family because they're my son's kids. But anyway, we are here with some guys that are sharing with us about what might be in your future, you, the listener or watcher of this. We're going to connect you, Missional Link Wales. And what's the missing link? It may well be you. They've begun to share with us a little bit about how they have an opportunity for you to come and be part of something that will transform your life. Now, we're not going to reiterate that. We did that in our previous segment. You can get that on our YouTube station or our Facebook, and it's all archived. Go back, you'll catch some of that. So we want to kind of start off from that point. And Jamie, we were talking with you. We heard a little bit about your journey in life and where you are now. What is your exact title or role with Missional Link Wales?
Yeah, thanks, Greg. So my role is operations manager. So I support Rob and all the relationships and partnerships we have operationally. So lots of administration, lots of communication, but also I'm the intern leader as well. And so I really do have a deep joy and privilege of walking beside any potential intern or missionary who comes, from the moment of the first conversation right to the very moment we put them on the bus to send them back to America, and ongoing. They become friends for life. So I'm operations manager, intern leader.
And so now tell us, how can someone get involved with you? Tell us what that looks like, and what do they need to do to be able to connect with you?
Simply get in touch. We're friendly guys, or blokes as we like to say in the UK. We got lots of resources out there, website, social media, YouTube channel, many things like that. But this is all about relationship. It starts off our relationship with Jesus, obviously. Then as Missional Links, our relationship with the churches. And that's what Missional Links exist for, is to connect people, churches and people. And in this case, interns and missionaries to come to Wales. And it all starts with a conversation.
All right, so I'm in that early 20s. I think this might be a pretty good gig for a little bit. What's my next step?
Next step is send us an email, send us a message on Messenger or through our website. And then that's when I would connect with you, over Zoom, FaceTime, whatever sort of communication we need. So we can get chatting, and then we can explain exactly how the program works here. We're really looking for those who are aged 18 to 27, sometimes 30 years old. And for those who really have a heart to love God and to love people, and to roll up their sleeves and come here to Wales and make a difference here in people's lives.
So there's a little bit of an interview process where you get to know each other, see if this fits.
That's right. So it's application forms to fill out. So usually I'll have a conversation first of all, just to really help paint the picture. of what the opportunity is like and what's required. So, that includes visas, fundraising, how the program works, what we've been doing over these past 19 years when it started with Rob. And from there, there's an interview after an application. We get references, all those types of things. But I would say all very friendly.
Yes. And what's the financial cost of this?
It's a good question, Greg. So our heart and passion, obviously, is to reach as many people here as possible, as well as to invest in and disciple as many young adults who come to Wales as possible. So I say that because we keep the costs as low as possible. So we have two entry points coming up. So the first one would be January of 2021. And so anybody interested in that time period, it would run from January through to the early part of July, so just over 6 months. And for that, the cost is £7,000. So just important to mention, this is in pounds sterling, not dollars, just because of our various budgets and things, because we have to work very, very closely with each year with a budget. We need it in sterling. And then the second entry point is from September 2021, and that runs for 10 months through to July. And so that is £10,000. But the fantastic thing with this, and we get told all the time, just people sometimes can't believe how low we can keep the cost, because that includes absolutely everything for the internship. So all of the education, all of the training, any ministry related travel, even down to barbecues, even down to hiking in Wales when we do trips, all of those things. But also, very importantly, we work with local churches, our partners who we're already in partnership with. We work with them and they help us to provide housing, utilities, even basic meals. We actually get for the interns, for basic meals are covered. So we put this whole package together so that the intern or missionary who comes knows very clearly what they're responsible for and what Missional Links ensure are covered for them. So that's where we do get told that value, we really try to keep it as low as possible for people.
So your optimum is to go from September through July.
Yes, for 3 terms, yes.
And give us a typical day and a typical week of what would happen with that person when they come.
Yeah, well, I'll start off with a week because what's wonderful about this internship, or again, any missionaries who come, is we're large enough to give them a bespoke experience. So we're not just trying to get a round block and fit it in a square hole as such. We really do our best to look at who the individual is, hence the interviews, the Zooming, the FaceTimes with them, to get to understand who they are as a person and their skills and gifts. But also, obviously, because we're in Wales and our partners are these churches who trust us to bring the right people to them, we really try to match the skills and gifts of the individual with the church. And so because of that, a lot of the time each day can look different for each intern. So just for example, it starts off on a Monday. We break down every day, Monday through to Friday. And then a Sunday, we basically break down the day to a morning slot, an afternoon slot, and an evening slot. And just to start off with, we do take very seriously the health and well-being of each intern. They definitely come here and work hard. They really roll up their sleeves and get stuck in. But we do take very seriously to make sure they're healthy, they're balanced, they're getting time to hike in the Welsh hills, to go down in the great capital city of Cardiff and all those things. So on a Monday, they may start off with possibly doing a schools ministry on a Monday morning, and then maybe stop off for break somewhere, have lunch. And then in the afternoon, they might come back to the church office and do some admin, do some things like that. Possibly on a Monday evening, maybe be part of a Connect group or a home group. I appreciate there's many names for them these days out there. And then on a Tuesday, what is set for all of the interns, it's fantastic, is they all come into the capital city in Cardiff. And so whether they're 10 miles away, whether they're 50 miles away, we bring them in on bus, on train. Again, this is all part of the package of the internship. And it's a very special day. They get to come to the capital in Cardiff, where our offices are. We're based with the EA in Cardiff. And we all come together as a team. And everybody leads the team meeting. We all pray for each other. We encourage each other. So that's for mornings. Every Tuesday, that's what we do as a team. And then in the afternoon, this is where the education...
oversee that? Do you oversee that Tuesday morning, or does Rob, or is it a combination?
Yeah, it's a combination. Yep, combination of both of us. And also we have our wonderful team member, Kath, as well, who's in with us. And then it's really fun in the afternoon. We change up Tuesday afternoons to make it a variety through the learning. As Rob mentioned in the first segment when we were speaking, every 2 weeks, the interns get to go through our Caleb accredited learning. And so this is leadership training. And so we really want to equip the interns with their head. We want them to learn. We want them to grow in practical things. So every 2 to 3 weeks, they do the Caleb training where they're all together in the classroom and we have various leaders. Rob teaches some of the sessions with some other leaders. And that's where they go through this accredited learning. And it's just fantastic to see them discover things about themselves, to discover new principles of leadership in the scriptures. It's a special time. Along with that also, once a month, we bring in Welsh Christian leaders, because one of the special things about coming to Wales is it's such a different context and it's a very different culture. We all know there's a difference between tomato and tomato. It's the same thing. We come from different backgrounds, and it really is great hearing from the Welsh leaders here of how they do ministry, of how they make it through, the teams they build, everything about church life here. So the interns get to interview these leaders, to glean from them, to learn about them. And along with that, what's wonderful, once every 6 weeks, we book a special room in the coffee shop. It's fantastic in Cardiff. I get all the interns again together and we just discuss as a team just what's working for them, what's challenging for them in that term 1, then when they're homesick, how they're doing with that. That changes in term 3. Usually then they don't want to go back to America so much all the time because they love Wales so much. But we really do this very program on a Tuesday. So it's a real mixture to keep it fresh, to keep it relevant, and to keep it really practical so they're always learning and growing. So that's on a Tuesday. And very often on a Tuesday evening then, all the interns sometimes hang out in the city, go out for dinner, just spend that time together, because that's for one day of a week they all come back to the hub, to the base of where we'll all come together. And then a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is when, again, is their bespoke timetable. So that could include sports ministry. We had one intern who played soccer here for a ladies team down in a place called Barry. It was just, what a mission field that was for her, wasn't it, Rob? It was just incredible. But it can be schools work, sports.
She voted the most popular player of the year.
She was.
Well. She had lots of great conversations and led people towards the Lord. It was excellent.
So even though CSRM is a sports-based ministry and mission, just so people don't misunderstand, they can come to Missional Link Wales and have an internship in youth ministry or music ministry or different kinds of things, but there is the sports ministry potential there as well. And so it just so people can understand, it's not just one or the other, it's all of the above.
All of it.
Keep going. You're on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, so, well, Greg, and again, that's where it's so great that we're large enough to offer this opportunity, but small enough to really make it bespoke around a soccer player. If someone's got a passion for the homeless, to do homeless work, to go into old people's homes. Youth work is a great need here. If you can imagine, with less than 2% of our nation being evangelical Christians, so many youth in our communities. There's a lot of poor communities in Wales, a lot of poverty, and young people just have nothing to do. They're totally aimless and hopeless. And so youth work is a big need here as well. And so that's
Rob. Let me just stop you there. Rob, is the young adult teenage suicide rate still very high there? I know at one point it was very high.
At one point it was gaining world attention.
Yes.
And it was a sad situation. I think it's higher in certain areas.
Yes.
In the more deprived areas, Jamie, I would say it is. Under 25s it's a highish number, it's a highest percentage. Don't know the percentage. However, there's a lot of depravity, a lot of poverty in the valleys, especially.
And so there is a huge need for folks to come.
Yes.
And there's a lot that can happen there. But keep going. Go ahead, Jamie.
Yeah, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, again, the interns here, that they're serving, they're giving, they're making a difference. And that's where the connection is again. They're taking what they've learned with their head, both from the Caleb training, both from learning from Welsh Christian leaders, being coached and mentored by the mentors. We coach them every week. I meet them as well. It's a priority for us as Missional Links to meet them for coffee, to hear how they're doing, to help them with cultural differences. For myself, living in America for 10 years, I can understand America very well. My wife's American. I speak to Americans every day. And so we're able to help coach them through each week, through the challenges, through the differences, through those things. And that's where they just have a huge impact. There was one young lady just a year or two ago who led 5 people to Christ and had the joy to baptize them as well. I mean, it's just phenomenal. So as they're here, especially for the 3 terms, they really get an opportunity to make disciples, to really pour in and invest their heart into young people and mature people, and to make a difference. And that's where, as Rob referred to in the first session we recorded here, the head, hands, heart, the balance of this holistic approach, this holistic learning, really does just form a life-changing year, both for the intern. They fall in love with Wales, they go deep in their walk with Jesus, and they fall, they really do make a difference here in Wales. And yet the Welsh churches who receive these interns are doing ministry and reaching the lost and reaching people in ways they never could. Because one of the big things for us here in Wales, and again, it goes back to the stat of less than 2% of our nation being Christians, is there's hardly any finances for local churches a lot of the time. And because of that, there's a big lack of staff. And even though the Welsh churches we work with, we love to say they punch above their weight, they truly do. The leaders we have, the volunteers that are part of these churches do incredible things, but they are limited because so many have to work full time. And volunteers have got their families and jobs to do. And so by placing, as Rob mentioned previously, by placing an intern for up to 35 hours, sometimes 40 hours a week of hands, of serving, of doing, the Welsh churches just can't believe how, the blessing it is to them, and they're able to reach so many more people. And so to be very American, Greg, for my 10 years of it, it's a real win-win. It's a real win for the young adult. They have a life-changing experience here, and it's a win for the Welsh churches. And that's why it's such a deep joy for us as Missional Link Wales to serve the interns and the churches in this way.
And I'm sure that these are formative years and relationships that last a lifetime.
They really
I wanted to pick up on one thing quickly as we kind of wind this segment down that you had talked about earlier as one little piece that may have been lost in all of this. And you were talking about caring for the interns. You talked about making sure that they were healthy. And you pointed that out in terms of 3/3 of the day, every day, morning, afternoon, and evening. And I know that when I started in ministry and I went to some of the gray hairs and saying, what would you advise me? And the one person particularly said, I'm telling you that everybody says you need a Sabbath and you need to take that one day a week. And that's absolutely true. But I'm going to tell you that you need to take a Sabbath every day. And you have 3/3 of the day. And 2 of them go to work in the mission, but that third one is for you. And that Sabbath where you don't do the ministry, you do the things that you need to do to be healthy, whether that's as basic as eating or cleaning, doing your laundry, doing your spiritual own devotions and morning watch, evening watch, whatever. And so that caught me that is built into your program and into your overall mission. And I want to say kudos to you for thinking of that, because it's so important, because we can burn out in ministry if we do not take those times. One last thing before we get going on this one, and we'll come back. So keep your thoughts as we go into the next segment. But people were asking, okay, you said for September through July, 10,000 pounds. In today's money, that would be $13,000 or $13,500.
$12,900 today.
Today. So that would be, just so those of you that are thinking, well, how much is that? Well, that's how much it is, and we'll break that down. Thanks, man.
Yes, and the 7,000, the 7 months is today $9,030.
Yeah. So there you have it. And we're going to pick up more about that next time. So make sure you come back for our next segment with Missional Link Wales and how you can get involved.
CSRM's podcasts are a resource provided by the Association of Church, Sports, and Recreation Ministries and its production house, Overwhelming Victory Flicks. This episode was produced by Dr. Greg Linville and edited by Andrew Fouts. For more information about CSRM, visit csrm.org. For more information about Overwhelming Victory, visit overwhelmingvictory.org. For CSRM Podcasts, I'm Mike Maloney. Have a blessed day.